to share with someone. One moment, please. I am back. Hey. Hey, YouTube. We're live. This is actually the first stream that disappeared. I'm redoing it. So let's see here. How's our water? Get it back up to a boil. Mm-hmm. Okay. Alright, so the water's to a boil. It was already pretty hot, but this is an induction stove, so it gets pretty toasty anyways. Then we have our alphabet noodles. I like the El Gupao brand. These are really good. I've tried a few other brands. I forget which ones I've tried. One was really not good. And then there's one, because Winco has two brands. One of them is like, I don't know, 2 cents cheaper? Or is it 4 cents cheaper? Either way, the cheaper one's not as good. And interestingly enough, the cheaper one is just flour. That's it. Yeah, this is semolina, which is flour, niacin, ferrous fumate, thiamine, monterate, and riboflavin, and folic acid. So the other one is just like the flour. That's it. Of course, they like mix it with water to shape it. I like this. Let's get this turned up a bit. Don't need to make a lot. Okay. Let the steam out of our bag there. And I keep these in a Ziploc bag because these bags don't seal. I'm going to let it sit for just a moment and fully evaporate out. And going to give a little stir. Whoops, timer. 7 minutes. Go. Okay. Oops, now that we got that going, we need to go outside and grab our green onion. Which, what we're getting is actually a onion and garlic mix. At least that's what a friend tasted, and oh my goodness, this is overgrown since the last time I did this. I'm gonna find it. Bit of a spider web too. Spider. So there should be some right down in here. This has been growing here for quite a while. Because this is our old house, but we rent it out now. We do still have access to the fruit trees and stuff here. So we're looking at a grapevine. And beneath the grapevine is some of this onion stuff. Or what's underneath this? Nope. There's nothing underneath that garbage can lid. Don't know why it's here. I know which can it's from, though. Let's see. Here. I'm hoping for a thick one. Are there any others? No? We'll just go for it then, and we'll get some of these. Hand you guys over. I think I'm looking at the right spot. Well, got some with bulbs, one without. Let's try another one that's missing the bulb. Well, we're not making a lot, so this will be good enough. Okay. I'm gonna go put the spade away. First, wipe the dirt off of it. I can smell oniony, garlicky goodness. Okay. Let's go back inside. Finish the rest of our dish. These are so good. Now, I don't know how they got mixed that way, and I've not read anything online. So I'm just assuming that what my friend said is true, and it does kind of make sense. I do taste a little bit of onion. I also taste a bit of garlic. 2 minutes. Actually 3 minutes. So we'll go ahead and give these a rinse. Just cold water. Get all the dirt off. Okay. Now I'm just going to go through and peel off any of the really thin wilted leaves on these. Any pieces we don't really want to eat. And we'll focus mostly on the stem, because you can eat the leaves. They're just not very thick and crunchy like we want. They're a little difficult to chew sometimes. And then we can just put those in our food saver container. Let's just peel off the rest of this little stem there. That's good enough. Let's grab ourselves our vegetable cutting board. I love these cutting boards. I need to do a video on them. You can see this one's got a tomato in the corner. So, make room here with our stuff. Okay. I'm going to get a quick drink because I need one. Let's put you guys down to the cutting board. We got 1 minute and 12 left. On our noodles. And having the pans that we do now, which are these, what is it? Not Nutrisol, that's the one we used to have. Oh, Hexclad, yeah. They're really nice because they're a non-stick type of pan. They're not quite as non-stick as maybe Teflon, but they're really good. They don't have Teflon in them. No PFOAs. Those things are bad, especially if you have birds, which, I mean, I don't have birds at the moment, but still, yeah. I mean, if it's doing bad things to a bird, what's it doing to you? So we'll start by chopping off the roots. Bye-bye roots. Also, I'm just going to peel a little more off of this little bulb here. Ooh. Turn that off. Turn off the stove here. Okay. We want our noodles to be al dente. That's why I'm getting this strainer here. Come here and strain these noodles out, like so. Noodles will cook different times. I think elevation can affect it. Of course, how hot water boils, stuff like that. So, read the package directions. Here in good old Orem, Utah, for me it's always been whatever the, well, not always. Usually it's whatever the shorter time is for the noodles. But sometimes it's a little bit longer, even than the longest time listed on the package. So, okay. Oh, and also, with these, I have to tilt, these need to go up. I have to tilt it to the side like this to really get all of the water out. And even then, there's still going to be a little bit of water, but you do want it strained. I'll just put that back in there for now. Water's barely touching the bottom. That's fine. Okay. So. Alright, so we've gotten rid of our root sections here. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and cut these up. Since I have some bulbs, I'm going to start with those. Let's get you guys in so that you can actually see what I'm doing here. There we go. Just carefully holding it, curling my fingers. Gotta watch these because sometimes the skin likes to slip a bit. But as long as you're not going really fast, see that one just like popped out. I'll turn this around the other way, try and get a grip on it. Especially if you have the knife like right up against your finger and the blade is below your finger, you know you're going to be cutting relatively safe. Okay. Now that we're done with those tiny little bulbs there, we can come in and cut the rest like we would normal. I'm just going to peel off that little bit of brown there. We'll just take all of these. This is the part that we really want. And again, there's still some wilty leaf up there. I don't care because I'm not going to be cutting that far up. Peel that section off right there. Kind of have these lined up. A little awkward to cut with the camera in between my arms, but this is working. It's very nice. I'm going to go cut these sections a little bit smaller. I would normally like these thicker. They'll have a little more of a crunch to them. Like, they're still relatively crunchy. Okay, we are getting some leaf in there, but that's okay. Let's taste this bit. That one still has a bit of stem that's not flat. And you can use the flat section. They're just a little harder to chew or crunch up, I find. Okay. And for the amount of noodles we have, that is probably plenty. Although I do like this stuff. Delish. Delish. These can go in our food cycler, or could just be thrown back out in the yard too. Was I even shooting what I wanted to? This is live. Okay. So now we're coming to combining stage. An important step. Grab a bowl. Extra virgin olive oil. We're using Pompian right now. Brands have slightly different flavors. What I used to do with this is I would just put my noodles in my bowl, and then I could easily see how much olive oil I needed to make, and I could also see how much Brewers yeast I needed. Let's get the water out of our noodles here again. But I found that doesn't quite work with the Brewers yeast, especially if you have, if I had a clear bowl, I could show this better. I'm going to eat all of this, otherwise I'd put it into a Tupperware container right off the bat, and then I could just stick my container in the fridge and pull it out and eat it later. So if you have the water from the noodles, and you don't have the Brewers yeast covered in the oil, then you get large flakes that stick to the bowl and stick to your teeth, and it's not as good, so you want to mix them first. So I'm going to go ahead and guesstimate. I'm gonna guess that's about a quarter cup of oil. Might seem excessive, but it's about a quarter cup for these noodles here. And then, once I start mixing in my brewer's yeast to my oil, I will be able to better determine what, if I have like the right consistency and the right amount here. So we've got our spoon. It's got a little bit of the salt or whatever, coating it from the water, or whatever makes the water hard. And I use some pink Himalayan salt. Now, one other thing too, sometimes, I haven't done this with the onions, but sometimes I would like to add spike seasoning. I bought this a few months ago. I don't use it very often. Something we used to get a lot as a kid, although I remember it being yellow, and it's pretty good. I like the flavor of spike, except for a couple of things. Although there's no added MSG, I think there are like spices in here, which is like some other flavor thing that's not so good for you. And then also, spike is really salty. If you don't know what spike is, spike original seasoning is the seasoning sensation originally created in the Italian kitchens of internationally acclaimed gourmet nutritionist, whoever that is. Hubert? Hubert? I'm not good at... But here's the thing. Spike Original Seasoning is a special blend of 39 flavorful herbs, exotic spices, and vegetables with just the right amount of salt. I beg to differ. This has quite a bit of salt. Anytime that I'm using Spike in my thing, I am not adding salt to the water, and I don't add my Spike to the water either. I will add brewer's yeast mix like we're doing now, and then I'll add some Spike, and I never get quite as much Spike as I want in there because it's too salty. So, now we got that. And I'm going to do a mix. So this is brewer's yeast, and this is nutritional yeast flakes, not from brewing products. They have slightly different flavors. I'm going to remind myself of them. I like the brewer's yeast in bulk is cheaper than the yeast flakes by Bragg's. I love their liquid aminos though. So here's some of the Bragg's. It's a slight tang to it. A little bit nutty maybe. And then the other one, it's a little stronger. It has a slightly darker, more round, almost nutty flavor. Now this one says cheese savory seasoning without the dairy. The other brewer's yeast doesn't specifically say that in the bulk section, but it's cheaper. This is like $5 for this thing. I forget how much that was, but it's cheaper per ounce. And this one here is almost a little more cheesy than so the yeast flakes are a little more cheesy than the brewer's yeast. It's a little rounder, darker flavor to it. They're both a good cheese substitute though. And, you know, to be fair, I've never actually had mac and cheese. I'm very picky about my cheese, so it could be good, but I would probably want to put other things with it. Because, like, even some cheese just straight is fine, but I don't know. So we're going to do a mix of both of these, because I'm basically, like, doing some of each. So I have this, not because I like both, just because I'm using up my more expensive one that I don't like the flavor of as much. So we're getting a good mix. Now, if we need any more, we'll have to use another spoon. So we're going to go in and we're going to mix this up. Probably going to add a smidge more oil for this amount. You really have to make sure that the whole thing is mixed up and that you have your all your flakes are not I want to say mushy is the wrong word. Yeah, they're not supposed to be dry. You shouldn't see any yellow flakes. So basically well mixed. And that's important because otherwise you'll get large flakes that'll just kind of wet and stick to the sides of your bowl. They're not easy to scrape off with your spoon and eat. So I'm going to actually add in just a tidge more olive oil. We'll go ahead and mix that in. You want it to be about the same consistency as I imagine like a cheese would be, you know, or like your Velveeta sauce. Then we're gonna go ahead and just scrape our noodles out. Being careful during the first tip so they don't all like splash out and spill all over the counter. And then you can also use a spatula for this too, and that's good if you're cooking for more than just yourself. You know, even if you're cooking with immediate family. If you wash your hands though, this would be fine for this type of a thing. Not in a restaurant though. In a restaurant, you would wear gloves for this because you're not like cooking it afterwards. Like the pizza place I work at, we don't wear gloves unless we're making a salad, or if we're making a sandwich, we do wear gloves. But like the pizzas, they get cooked all the way. Our sandwiches do get cooked too, they're toasted. But if you made a pizza, we don't wear gloves because they get cooked in the oven at the end. Alright, now that we've got this in, we can go ahead and mix this part of it up. We'll add our onions in just a moment. And I'm just going to go ahead and scrape off what's on the spoon, because the back end will get scraped off and mixed, but what's in the spoon kind of likes to stick in there in a clump unless you really scrape it out. And when we're done with this, we'll be able to see if we got the consistency right or not. You can try and like scrape off your stuff to the side and use the empty space to mix a little more oil and brewer's yeast. If you really want to get it right, you'd use a separate container, but getting it right the first time is good, because then you don't have any extra dishes. And that's also why I like the idea of making something and just putting it straight into a Tupperware container with a lid, or whatever the Rubbermaid or whatever storage container is called now, and mixing it up that way, because then you don't dirty as many dishes, and and then you get yeah, you can just put it straight into the fridge, take it out the next day and start eating it if you're a leftovers person. I mean, my family didn't have a lot growing up, so yeah, we were big on leftovers. Apparently some people are really petty about leftovers and they won't eat leftovers of like perfectly good food, and to that I say, you guys are wasting food. Man up and eat your leftovers. Yes, leftover food isn't always as good as when it's made fresh, but a lot of stuff is still really good. Like especially this the next day. This is going to be great the next day. No problems with this the next day. Pizza, yeah, that one not so much. You can rewarm it though. It just bothers me, all the people that are wasting food. And no, I'm not suggesting that some poor kid in Africa could have eaten that, because he couldn't have. We're not shipping tons of food to them that way, and given the current situation, maybe we shouldn't be shipping tons of food and money to other countries. You gotta help yourself before you help others, to an extent. There is a point where some people are too selfish, but honestly, I can boil this down. We're getting philosophical with noodles. Never thought I would do that, but this can be boiled down to, like, are you on track to get to heaven, or whatever you believe is the good outcome at the end of your mortal life? If you're on track to get there, then there's a chance for you to be able to help people in certain capacities. If you're not so much, that's when you're limited on some of the capacities you can help with other people, and when you need to go and think about helping yourself first and getting on the right track. So I'm saying that looks pretty good. Okay. I'm just going to put the twist tie on my big bag of brewer's yeast here. And then we'll give it a taste. See if I think it needs any modifications. Maybe I would like to add something. And, you know what, actually, I forgot, I'm using my selfie cam. So even though the selfie cam doesn't look quite as good, I can line it up and actually see what's in the shot. So, This is so good. The oil also lends to part of the flavor, and it's been a little while since I've actually had this. Maybe a couple of months or so. Probably a month and a half, because I used to eat this quite a bit, and I got a little tired of it. And I was also realizing that I needed a little more protein, which you can add some bacon to this too. That is a really, really good addition. And, last thing I'll say for this, and I actually probably would have added some bacon. That had been my protein, except for I don't have any cooked right now. Save your bacon fat. I'll be doing another short on this at some point probably, but save your bacon fat, because you can use it to flavor things and cook in. And you're probably like, oh, bacon fat, that's really unhealthy. You know, I keep mine in the fridge, but that's unhealthy. And like, why? Olive oil is better and all these things. Yeah, but you don't need that much. Like, for the amount of noodles that we made here, this little half bowl of noodles, I would say you only need maybe a teaspoon or so of bacon fat, and that will flavor up the whole thing to taste like bacon. But you get better protein, and it's more filling if you actually add pieces of bacon. So yeah. Anyways, that's it for this recipe. Thank you guys for watching. I do want to do more of this stuff, but I don't really want to do it live because I can't edit this. And they usually, in the past, they've ended up being really long. I did pretty good, though, with the timing on this one, I think. So, if you want to see more cooking stuff, go support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/CoolShells101, because I'm getting my studio set up so I can have a nice place to edit these things. And I need, and I need, like, the subscription to Adobe, because Pinnacle Studio is being slow, and I don't want to upgrade to the newer version of Studio because some of the same issues that have been there through multiple versions that I've used, I'm fearing they might not be fixed, and I just go to export and it doesn't save. Go. Seriously, guys. I need your help. Go do that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in whatever's next.